In this lesson, we are going to make our first sketch of a human head. This is an important lesson because we are going to put into practice everything we've learned so far and integrate some digital techniques that will make the sketching process more efficient and fun. Before we begin, I'd like to talk a bit about the sketching process. Sketching is by far the most difficult and critical part of the drawing process. It can be the most fun, but also the most frustrating, so it's important to understand the purpose of this stage and what result we want to achieve. Generally speaking, the sketching phase should be quick and loose, and we must avoid getting lost in details. The result of the sketching phase should be something similar to what we obtained in the previous lesson. Yes, I know it doesn't look very pretty and seems a bit boring, but this first step is very important. Underestimating this step is one of the most common mistakes of beginner artists and one of the hardest mistakes to correct throughout the character creation process. We want to see the end result with vibrant colors and cool lighting effects, as we see when we look at the work of any artist that we like. However, there's a lot of work behind that final rendering that we can't see, and that invisible foundational work is actually the most important part of the work and the only way those artists can achieve such results. These are some examples of the sketches behind some of my own work. This invisible work is the sketch work. The sketch will establish the foundation or scaffolding of the drawing. If the foundation is not good, at best, you'll have to waste time later on tweaking and correcting basic errors. In the worst and most common cases, if the sketch has serious mistakes, it won't be possible for the final drawing to look good no matter how many corrections you make, and you will have to start over. In a way, drawing is like building a house. It doesn't matter how pretty the painting you want to put on the walls is. If the foundation of the building is not good, the house will fall. There are some techniques to retouch already finished drawings that we'll see later, and it is good to keep that in mind when making our sketches. But for now, we should focus on having a sketch as solid as possible. And yes, I know some artists can draw directly without using sketches, but to get to that point, you need a lot of practice, although in my opinion, a well-executed sketching phase is the best guarantee that your character will have a solid structure and will look good at the end of the process, since it allows correcting and adjusting things as the sketch gets defined. Skipping this step often results in structural drawing issues that cannot be corrected or whose correction requires much more time than would have been taken to properly develop the sketching phase. Therefore, investing a few minutes in the sketching phase should be considered a time investment that will save many problems in the future and not as a waste of time. Plus, as I said before, the sketching phase is the most fun. Well, after this introduction, I think it's time to start with our first sketch.